truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Could you please state your name and spell your first and your last name for the record?
Sure. It's Ailish Wilkie, A-I-L-I-S-H, and the last name W-I-L-K-I-E.
And are you employed currently?
I am.
How are you employed?
I work for Beth Israel Lahey Health as their Director of Patient Safety and Risk Management.
What is patient safety and risk management?
It's a position within healthcare that ensures that we provide the safest possible care to our patients while adhering to their rights as patients and also minimizing risk to an organization.
And prior to working at Beth Israel, where did you work?
I worked for the Steward healthcare system, primarily at Norwood Hospital.
How long did you work for Norwood or Steward in general?
I worked for Steward for approximately 4 years, Norwood for approximately 3 years.
And what was your position when you were at Norwood?
I was the Director of Quality, Patient Safety, and Risk Management.
So essentially what you just described?
Yes.
Okay. And directing your attention to May 15th of 2020, did you become aware that Dr. Ingolf Tuerk was a patient at Norwood Hospital?
I was.
And approximately what time was that?
I think it was approximately 2:30 in the afternoon.
And what was your role with regard to Dr. Tuerk at that time?
In my role within the organization, anytime there was legal involvement at the hospital, regulatory agencies or police, they would call me and I would be the intermediary between those individuals and the hospital staff.
And did you have the opportunity to do that on May 15th?
I did.
And what, if anything, did you do on May 15th?
At approximately, I think I said it was 2:30 in the afternoon, I received a phone call from the director of the emergency department, the nursing director, that they had had a patient come in who was unresponsive, and there were police looking to ask questions specific to that patient. So she called and I presented to the emergency room.
And did you have the opportunity to meet with the police on May 15th?
I did.
And on May 16th, what, if anything, happened on that day?
So the following morning, I received a phone call from a detective from Dedham asking me about the status of Dr. Tuerk, who was the patient at the time.
And were you able to provide her with information?
I was.
And what was that information?
That he had woken up at some point in the overnight hours.
Okay. And were you aware that the police wanted to speak with him?
I was.
Did you go to the hospital on Saturday the 16th?
I did.
And did you see Dr. Tuerk?
I did.
Where was that in the hospital?
The first time I saw him, he was in the intensive care unit.
And were you able to speak with him?
I did not speak with him at that time.
All right. Were you able to observe him?
I was.
And was he awake at that time?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know about what time that was?
I don't know exactly what time, but I believe I arrived at the hospital at around 11:30.
And did you have the opportunity to meet with him later in the day?
I did.
And was that somewhere else, or was that still in intensive care?
That was in a different unit in the hospital. He was transferred out of the intensive care unit to a medical unit.
Okay. And did you speak with him at that time?
I did.
And what did you tell Dr. Tuerk?
I introduced myself and let him know who I was within the hospital and that I was providing him with, at the time, a piece of paper with an attorney's name on it that had called the emergency department the day prior to leave their information for him when he awoke.
Okay. And what, if anything, happened with that piece of paper?
It was on a Post-it note, and I provided it to Dr. Tuerk.
And did he take it from you?
He did. He looked at it and then threw it on the floor.
And what, if anything, happened after that?
I was communicating with the state police detective. He had requested to speak with Dr. Tuerk. At the time, we were in the height of COVID, so nobody was to speak with him until he had been ruled out for COVID. So a COVID test was performed. It was sent to the laboratory to be read. During that time, we essentially waited. He had various consultations in the hospital and care as usual.
And did you explain to Dr. Tuerk that the police wanted to speak with him?
I did.
And how did you do that?
So later in the afternoon, approximately 3 p.m., I indicated to Dr. Tuerk that the police were there and would like to speak to him about the day prior, and asked him if he was willing to speak with the police. He indicated yes.
And when you say he indicated yes, did he say that verbally or by nodding or?
He verbally said yes.
Okay. At any point in time, did you feel like you were having any difficulty communicating with Dr. Tuerk?
No, I did not.
All right. And can you describe Dr. Tuerk's demeanor when you were meeting with him?
Appropriate. He was quiet, but very polite.
Ms. Gilman, could you please put up exhibits number 63 and 64? Ms. Wilkie, do you recognize what's contained in exhibit number 63?
It appears to be the family waiting room on the unit. They look identical, so I can't say exactly what floor it was, but it's the family waiting room on the medical unit that Dr. Tuerk was on.
Okay, and could we have exhibit 64, please? And do you recognize 64?
Yes,
What is that?
that is the signage outside of the family waiting area.
Okay. We can have the lights back on, thank you. And what, if anything, happened in the family waiting room?
I escorted Dr. Tuerk into the family waiting room when the police detectives were ready to question him. I remained outside, and he was being questioned by police.
Okay. And when you say you escorted, how did he arrive? Was he in a wheelchair, on a hospital bed, or?
No, he was walking to the unit. I believe I asked if he was able to walk to the unit. Had he needed a wheelchair, I would have provided one.
Okay. And at any point in time, did he leave the family waiting room?
Yes, they did take a break at one point. I don't know what time that was or after how long, I apologize, but there was a break. I brought him back to his patient room and provided him with a ginger ale.
Could I just have a minute, please, Your Honor?
You may.
Ms. Wilkie, if you thought that Dr. Tuerk was not understanding you, would you have acted differently?
Absolutely.
And why is that?
Because my ultimate goal is to protect patients. And had he indicated that he did not want to speak with police, I would not have allowed that. If we felt that he wasn't able to speak with police, he would not have spoken with them.
All right, thank you. No further questions at this time.
Morning.
Good morning.
So basically what the takeaway is that your job is to, in effect, protect your patients.
Correct.
And you do a good job of that.
I think
Talked to
so.
the police in this case.
Yes.
You made sure that Harry was all right and that he was able to speak with the police.
Yes.
And that you did, in fact, hand him, I guess, a piece of paper with an attorney's name on it.
Correct.
Do you remember the name of the attorney?
I do not.
Was it a divorce attorney? Do you know?
I don't know.
In any event, you handed it to him and he just threw it on the floor.
Correct.
And in all of his dealings with you, you had no trouble understanding what he was saying, right?
Correct.
His speech was clear. He did
Correct.
not appear at that point to be impaired by drugs or alcohol.
Correct.
Do you know why he was admitted to the hospital?
I do.
And what was that?
He was found unresponsive.
And acute alcohol poisoning?
I did not read his medical record.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not clinically trained, so my
okay.
job is on the opposite side of healthcare and not on the clinical side.
All right. In all of your dealings with him, he was a gentleman and polite.
Absolutely.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Nothing further,
All right,
thank
you
you.
may step down, thank you.
Trooper Kotkowski, please.
Right this way.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give to the court and the jury in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but